Welcome everyone. Although this was not how we had anticipated holding our April block of the month class, this is where we find ourselves trying to adjust with how COVID-19 has changed our lives. In the Old Testament, in the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon says, "There is a season and a time for every matter under the heavens." Perhaps in this season, it is a time to be humble and still and reflect on God's heart and his purposes. And you know what? Later on in that same chapter, he says that there is also a time to tear and a time to sow. Isn't that fitting? So, let's go ahead and start on our block. I want to say that I miss you guys very, very much, and I want to encourage you all to get out there and help others as best as you can. Sew masks, get groceries, but stay safe as well. So when we decided to film this, I got so nervous I could hardly even sew, and I made a lot of mistakes. And then I realized that all my friends were going to be watching, so it doesn't matter. If I goof, I goof. That's just part of it. And we're going to have some fun, and we're going to make some history. So here we are at block number 6. We're halfway through our year of our block of the month. Last month it was our Ohio Star. That was an easy one, and I'm sure you guys got that cut out and sewn up in a jiffy. So today we are going to be starting on page 10. So if you look in your book on page 10, you'll see that this is the Cactus spinning star, and this is a paper piecing block. Some of you can go ahead and turn me off right now because you all know all there is to know about paper piecing, and others of you are thinking, paper what? So let's just try to break this down and go step by step. First of all, on the top of page 10, you'll see your cutting chart. You'll need 8 5x7 background rectangles, and you'll want to go ahead and cut those out. And then you will need 1 rectangle that is 6x8 of each of your 4 colors. So you will have 12 rectangles that you'll be cutting out. Once you have those cut out, then you want to separate your colors, and you need to predetermine what your colors 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be. For this block, we always will have the light as color 1, this blue is color 2, this one's 3, and this one's 4. So, if you'll see under the paragraph, under the cutting instructions, you'll see her cutting instructions. So you need to separate out color 1 and 3, put them on a pile, and color 2 and 4. This matters very much on how you are cutting these colors. It's absolutely necessary that you pay attention. So lay out color number 1 and 3, and when you lay those out, you will cut that rectangle from the lower right corner to the upper left. So this is what your cut will look like for colors 1 and 3. And then for colors 2 and 4, it will be opposite. You will be cutting your rectangle from the lower left to the upper right. So make sure you get those set up correctly. Okay, then let's talk a little bit about the foundation paper. It's generally an off-white, lighter weight paper. It is a lot easier to sew, and it's a lot easier to remove. And we will be putting at least 4 sheets of this into your kit. And by the way, your kit will be ready Friday after 1 o'clock. So we would love to see you at the back door. Come on in and get your kit if you'd like to. After 1 o'clock this coming Friday, it'll be ready. So, in your kit you will have 4 sheets, and you will take your page number 10 and you'll make 4 copies of page 10. You'll make 4 copies on the foundation paper. I think we have Carol Dokes is what we use. So that will be in your kit. After you copy those, you'll see on the pattern that she says to make sure the dotted lines on the outside still measure 6.5 inches. That is just to make sure that when you copied it, it didn't distort it. I don't think you'll have any problems, but that's what you're measuring. You're measuring here to here should be 6.5, and this should be 6.5 after you make your copies. Each of these has 2 patterns on it, and you will simply cut them apart. Cut them down the middle, in between the dotted lines. You're not going to cut on the dotted lines because the dotted lines are your seam allowance. And you'll see here that it says background and then color 2 and 4. So make sure you put this one on the color 2 and 4 area. If you don't, you will be very sad, like me, because I didn't the first time and I goofed and I had the wrong pattern on the wrong color. So that's how I know to do that right. And go ahead and cut all of them apart. Again, you're going right in the middle between those 2 dotted lines. And again, make sure you have color 2 and 4 over on those fabrics. It feels kind of weird cutting your pattern apart, but that's okay. You've got your main copy in your book. So I have 1 and 3 here. Okay, this is kind of you're going to have a lot of trash, so make sure you keep a trash can close to you. That'll be helpful. So after you've made your copies and cut them apart, then you're ready to start sewing. Now let's look over on page 9. She has fairly good instructions on paper piecing on page 9. The 2 main rules of paper piecing is you sew your right sides together. Your fabrics need to be right sides together, and you're always sewing on the top of your paper. You always have to see what you're sewing. So that'll make more sense to you a little bit later on. So if you look over on page number 9, you'll see number 1. She talks a little bit about the paper and about each section. So she has color 2 and 4, so let me grab that like hers. So you'll notice your background piece that you already cut is 5 by 7, so you will want to take one of those 5 by 7 pieces. They're numbered because that is the first fabric that you'll be working with, is your background, and the second one is going to be either color 2 or color 4. So I'm going to have a piece of color number 2 fabric here with me, working with background and color number 2. Now, fabric, she says, is always applied to the back of the paper, and the wrong side of your fabric is always against the wrong side of the paper. So, with your wrong side up and your paper on that fabric, you will want to flip it over. Maybe before that, just hold it up to the light and make sure that your paper is on the fabric and it is covered on each corner. That's very important. So then you'll want to flip it over and just take a couple pins and pin that fabric to the back of the paper. Okay? Then you're ready to flip it up. When you pin that, stay away from your first sewing line. This is your first sewing line here. So make sure you pin it away from that line. So when you bring it back with the paper right side up, you are looking at this image right here, and that's what it should look like, facing up. Okay? So now we're on number 3 on page 9, and we need to know where we're going to stitch. So this is our stitching line here. I like to take a ruler and lay it right on that line, and then I just do a finger press against my ruler. So I have a fold there, and after it's folded like that, then I'm going to go ahead and bring it down, lay my ruler right on that 1/4 inch past that fold. And that's what's going to give me direction for where I lay my color number 2. Okay? So now I can go ahead and trim away my extra background fabric from my sheet. I'm going to cut right on that line that I just drew. Okay? Now I'm ready to take my fabric color number 2. Make sure you grab the right one. And I'm going to lay that down right on the line that I just cut. Now here's where, if you take your time and do a little extra pinning, you will save yourself a lot of fretting and a lot of worry.